If you have more diversity in your organization, including LGBTQ, people with disabilities, women, and people of color, you create 2 more products per year than a less diverse company. I went through these tools that I found through my research called the ABCs of breaking bias. So they are: admit it, stop trying to deny you don't have bias, we all do, I have bias too. Blind it, that's scrubbing resumes of people's names so you don't know who they are. Count it, basically measuring things, and then support it. What's next is the DEFS of breaking bias and creating diversity and inclusion. So unlike the ABCs, which focus on how to bring in more diversity through selection, recruitment, the DEFs are what do you do once you've achieved that goal? You've brought in this amazing diverse talent, and now how do you get the most out of it? And that's the DEFs. So let me start with the D, develop them. So my research shows that developing others is just a good leadership technique. It's just good leadership. But it's particularly important when you are leading diverse teams, because if you're developing your employees, you're showing them their path in the organization and how they can grow and where you see them going. It means you believe in them. And that's all the more important when you have diverse groups who often feel the stereotype of maybe I'm just here because of the color of my skin or because of my sex. But when you develop your teams, they really see that you have a path for them and a belief in them and confidence in them. And they take that confidence for themselves. The E is empower them. So one of the great reasons we want diversity in terms of things like innovation is diversity of thought, having different perspectives, different viewpoints. Now, if you don't get people to share their diverse ideas and backgrounds and viewpoints, you're not really getting the benefit of diversity. But this is what we see in so many organizations. You hire in people who look different than the normal person in your organization, and then that person is silenced. And they leave, right? Why am I here? No one wants to hear from me. But if you empower people to share their views, maybe asking everyone to speak at a table, or what Kevin Lofton, who's the CEO of Catholic Charities, does, appoint a devil's advocate at every meeting who's always going to raise a dissenting opinion. And once one person raises a dissenting opinion, it's easier for everyone else to do the same thing. So empower people to speak up, share their views, make change, and do things differently. The F is fairly treat them. In organizations, there's 2 types of tasks. There's promotable tasks and non-promotable tasks. Promotable tasks might be things like landing a new client or turning a part of your business around, making major change, coming up with innovation. Non-promotable tasks are things like doing a PowerPoint, editing someone else's work, organizing an office party. And what we see is that those non-promotable tasks are disproportionately laid on women and minorities. And that's not even counting all of the office housework, like taking notes at meetings, mentoring all of the other women and minorities in the organization. So if you make sure as a leader that the tasks are fairly divided, because you've already developed plans for people to go through the organization, you say, what do they need to succeed? And then make sure that they're equally distributed fairly. The S is support them, just like it was in the ABCs. We need support. We need to make sure that people who believe in diversity and inclusion are willing to stand up and share that. That means flying in front of the radar so everyone knows where you stand on this point.